Hi, everyone. Welcome to our new podcast, episode 1. You're here with me, Ginta and Maryna, and we are here in Los Angeles, California. On this podcast, we're going to talk all things parenthood, fashion world, health, and how we got to where we are today, and our own experience. We are no experts by any means, just moms with careers that are finding the best ways of living life. Tune in and find out more. We're going to start with our stories from childhood to how we ended up in New York, city where we both lived for a long time and where our careers as models took off. And it's a city where we both met. Maryna, tell us about your childhood. How did you grow up?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Ginta, for the lovely introduction. Well, I was born in Minsk to a single mom. My dad left my mom when she was 9 months pregnant, so she had to give birth by herself, which I'm sure wasn't easy.
For sure.
Having kids now, like, how did she even do that?
Mm-hmm.
And then we lived in a communal house, which is, for whoever don't know what communal house is, it's, you know, a house where there's many, many families live, and you have one room with one bed, and then you share the kitchen, and you share the bathroom, the toilet, for the whole families on one floor.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, looking back, I kind of feel like it was fun for me because we had all the little kids running around, and the kitchen was kind of like huge, and there was like all moms making dinner,
Yeah.
Everyone is kind of grabbing food from each other. So looking back, like, I didn't feel like I lived really poor because
that's what you knew.
Right, because that's,
You know.
I didn't know better.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have TVs, or we weren't even open to US yet, or, other countries. So I feel like I had pretty happy, childhood, even though looking now it's crazy. It was really, really poor. And then when I was 7 years old, my mom, she was a construction worker.
No way.
So when she was a construction worker, but she was doing the walls. She was painting the walls and like doing wallpaper, putting wallpaper up. So that was her job. So because she was single mom, back then in Soviet Union, they would like put her in line and then give her housing. So when I was around 7, they gave us a house.
A house or apartment?
Apartment. Apartment building.
Wow.
A home, I guess. Yeah, apartment building.
Do you remember that memory, like how you felt when you were like, oh my God, we're actually going to have our own place?
Yeah, I mean, it was surreal because you go from, communal house with, the cockroaches to the crazy, like it wasn't nice, So living in a new apartment building, like brand new, and I had my own room. And we had our own kitchen, and it was surreal. Mm-hmm. So my mom worked so hard to give me the best she could. And when I was also 7, around the same time, my mom met who is my dad now, because I never had a dad. So I call him, dad, even though he's my stepdad. So he raised me. My mom's still married to him, and I have a stepbrother, and we have a great relationships actually. So I got lucky that my mom met someone.
So I know that you have brothers. So he's
Right.
actually your stepbrother.
He's my stepbrother.
Okay.
But I think not many people know that because my stepdad is my dad. Mm-hmm. Because I never had a dad or, father figure.
And you and your brother look alike so much that I would
much.
never even think that you guys have separate
Right.
fathers.
And
Wow.
a lot of people say, oh, you look way more like your dad. So it was always funny because my mom is like brunette and my dad is, blonde with blue eyes. So
Yeah.
my dad always said, yeah, of course, she looks more like me. So
Yeah.
it was like always a joke, when my mom and my dad got together, everyone is always say that. So we were kind of like...
That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he's your dad. He raised you. So
He is for sure my dad. And yeah, I never met my real dad. So, my childhood was poor, but I guess by the age I was 10 or like whatever, 7 to 10, it got better. My mom started a business. She was selling pita, but like, you know, that's was a long time ago, and that's what.
And that part of the world, that's,
Right,
you know.
that's what you did in Russia, you know,
Yeah.
in Belarus. So she started her own business with my dad. My dad was selling cars. My mom was selling, you know, jackets, and it was kind of better. I was going to school, whatever, everything was fine. And then by the age I was 12, my girlfriend from my class, she wanted to go to this modeling competition. And she's like, come on, let's go with me. And I was not pretty. Like, I wasn't a pretty girl
I
in
don't
school.
believe you.
I was like really skinny. Like, I was never kind of like a cool girl at all. I was like a nerd. And she's like, let's go. And she was like gorgeous, tall. Her name is Maryna as well. So we went to the competition, and yes, of course, they chose me, not her. And then the agent from Paris, from Next agency, they like chose me for this program, whatever, to come when I'm hit 16, or you know, something like that. Can't really remember like exactly the details, but I never waited till 16, and I went to Paris just to check it out, like when I was really, really young, like 13 or 12, like 12 and a half, 13. And
Did you go by yourself or with your mom?
I went by myself. The agents met me there, and I was just like, I fucking hated it. Like, I didn't like Paris, then I was trying
I
to...
hated my first time in Paris too.
It was so stressful, like stinky, cold, dark. People was mean, like, I don't know.
And it's hard city to survive with no money.
No money. Like, they give you 30 euros.
So what can you do with that? Like a subway ticket and what?
There was a choice for me. I either buy a subway ticket or eat. Or I eat and I walk
Yeah.
to castings. So I didn't necessarily love that. So I went to London, and it was the same exact thing, even more expensive, and like they give you a little bit more money, but London is also, I still till this day, like don't love London that much.
It's a hard city. Yeah.
Right. So I went back home, and I'm like, you know what, I'm so young, whatever. But I didn't love the country I was living in. I don't know why. I never felt like it was where I meant to live forever, you know? So then someone proposed that I go to Japan just to train, and like, it's easy, they take care of you there. So I went to Japan. I remember flying there, you know, I'm the young girl, 13 years old, from Belarus, flying to Japan. I remember like I had no idea about the planes. So I went, you know, where they serve food. There's like a space on the floor. So I took a blanket and I slept there because it's so long. I'm like, I can't sleep in this chair.
Did you really?
I really
like
did.
in an aisle?
Right, where they serve food,
Yeah.
there's like a little thing. And after
Yeah.
they kind of stopped serving, there was like, you know, a moment of 6 hours. They kind of let people sleep. So I just slept there. I felt great. I arrived. And I don't know, I was just like young and not so smart. And I tried to speak Russian to people. And the first woman that I tried to speak Russian to, she was like, oh, actually, I was learning Russian in college. Like, she spoke Russian, this Japanese lady.
Wow.
So she helped me to get on an Anna bus to get to my stop where my agency would meet me. And I was great. Like, they take you to castings on a car, they take you to jobs, they give you, you know, Japanese, they're really precise, they're really organized. They give you map to go to jobs, you know. It was really organized, and I just loved it. I fell in love with Japanese culture. I fell in love with, you know, Japanese people. They were really, I know, like, people have problems that are, like, fake or whatever. I kind of loved it. I made money. I made, like, $10,000, which what my parents make in 2-3 months, you know.
That's a lot.
So I made like
In how long did you make 10,000? How long did you work there?
I made it like in a month or two.
Wow.
Yeah, like I made a lot of money for me back then. So I went home, and then I was kind of fine. Then you know, my parents let me go back. I went back.
Because they're like, she's doing good, so you keep on trying, right?
So when I get back, I didn't leave Japan for 3.5 years.
And when did you go back? What age?
Went back to Minsk.
No, when you went back to Minsk, and then you decided to go back to Japan. What age?
It was like around 13 and a half.
Wow. All by
And
yourself.
all by myself. And, Japan was crazy. It was like nice, but then it kind of became being a little dark. Like the modeling there it's really stressful. It's like, it's a lot. You work day and night. You don't sleep. I got into party scene. I was kind of just like partying a lot, partying all night, going from club to work. So like, it started to get a little bit dark for me personally. And I think for a lot of girls too.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was like 16 and a half, 17, I went back home and my parents just didn't recognize me. I was really skinny. I was like, drinking, smoking weed, like not what I should have been doing. So my parents took my passport and they wouldn't let me leave for a year. So I went back to school. I was just kind of staying home. Got better, I guess, Didn't really party in Minsk.
You got more grown up too,
I grew up,
I think that's the thing when you leave as such a child, 13, 14,
it's
you
like,
don't know, you just like suddenly in this like different environment thrown into, and then you just want to explore, and then that's what you see what other people do, so you want to,
right,
like, you become part of that.
Right, and I went to the clubs with these people who were like 20, like, which is, and they were doing things and I was doing things and we had a lot of fun, but then coming to Minsk, I was like, oh my God, it's a little too much. Even being like 17, like I even understood it was too much.
Mm-hmm.
So my British agency that, I went like when I was 13, they proposed that I would go to London again. So I went to London and I had my own money already. I had a little bit of money. So I could, I could buy like food and I could take subways. So I stayed there for a few months. And then the big break was that I found agency in New York. And I was like, I'll give it a shot to New York, but I don't really want to live in New York. That's what I was telling myself. I was like, I want to go back to Japan. That's all I want to do, right? Can go back to Japan, be more normal, like maybe don't party too much, and just like, it's incredible country, like the culture, the everything, it's just like so surreal and cool, and I really loved it. And I spoke Japanese a little bit at that point,
You really did, wow.
I did. I didn't speak English. And when I came to New York, I was like, hi, hello. And I was like bowling,
You picked up the Japanese culture.
Oh, for sure. I was like, hi.
So interesting, yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
So I came to New York and I told the people at the agency that I don't really want to be here. I want to be in Japan. They're like, oh, yeah, okay, whatever. And my agency was DNA. That at the moment they were the best, the most exclusive, like just the shit,
Yeah.
So I don't know. Even though my journey of modeling was kind of, slow, because I started at 12 and that was, I was 19 and a half. I came in the summer. I was like 18 and a half. Sorry, I was 18 and a half. I was almost 19 because I was 19 in September. So I was like almost 19. Well, I never left US. Obviously, that's my story. I never left US, But, they were just loving, and they were just kind of, my agent Christina, she was just really cute, and like she was loving. She was taking me everywhere by hand, and she put me in a model apartment and said, Christiana, I have 10,000 in my account. It's funny for me now, but I'm like, I had a lot more, actually. I was like,
I just laugh because I think I know what's coming.
Right. So. No, I don't think you know. I said, I don't want to live in model apartment.
Oh, I thought you're going to say that you're fine. You just want to leave the country. You're like, you don't need this. But okay, so you didn't want to.
No.
So you were ready to like get your own place. You were thinking that's okay.
I said, you know what? I don't want to live with other girls. I didn't live with other girls in Japan. I paid for my own apartment. And by the way, the apartments in Japan, you guys, it's size.
Oh, it's so tiny.
Of your toilet.
Yeah.
It's a pull-out bed, and you live in a toilet with a little sink. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
Like, that's how a lot of people in Japan
tiny
live.
there. Yeah.
But I had my own space, and like, I'm here with like the girls, and I was like, listen, the girls go to like Wanok. Okay, Wanok didn't exist yet, but like, Marquee. And they come back, and like, I was trying to get out of the party life,
Yeah.
I was, doing Jivamukti yoga every day. I was trying to be good. I guess I was always kind of strong in my head after that, like, kind of difficult situation in Japan that I got into, like, party life. So I wanted to be good, you know? So I was like, listen, I want to live by myself. So I rented an apartment at Avenue B, which was still dangerous at the time. It was 223 Avenue B, I remember now. And
Avenue B and what? Because that was my first
14.
14. I was 7th Street between B and C.
See, we're
Was my
close,
first.
right?
We're
You were
close,
a little
yeah.
bit there. You were like in
Yeah.
a little bit of cooler area.
Yeah,
But
lots of grunge though. It was like
Right.
a little sketchy, but
Very sketchy, you know. It was $2,000 a month. But I could afford it because I started doing catalogs. They're really smart in New York. They put you to do catalogs right away because they don't know if you're going to make it as a fashion model, you know.
Yeah.
They don't know if you're going to do Dior campaigns or whatever. So they make you, you know, do catalogs so you have your own money and then send you on, like, fashion castings.
yeah, that's how you gain experience. And plus,
Right.
they want their money back too because they pay in advance, you know, for
Of
like your
course.
com cards, travel, and all that
Right.
expenses.
I would say they were really professional, more professional than like Europe agencies. Like I feel like, I don't want to like talk bad about Europe or anything, but like I feel like US is just like,
They have it down.
yeah, they're just so professional. And then I started doing a bunch of catalogs. I was like, you know, a pretty Russian girl, like Belarusian, sorry. I was like, you know, a pretty blonde girl. Like I did well on catalogs. And then my agent Louis, who you probably know, he took me to Steven Meisel pretty soon after I arrived. And that was it. It was Italian Vogue cover. And, you know, my career just started rolling from there.
Wow, that's really impressive, especially from such a young age. I started way later. I was almost 16, but you starting from 12, 13, that's
Right.
like you're still, I mean, at 16, you're still a child, but I feel like 12,
Right.
13, it's like, how was it for your mom to let you go?
I don't know. I ask this myself a lot. I'm like, will I send, you know, Anna Sophia or Gia?
Yeah, now you having your kids on your own.
Having
you're
my
like,
own kids. I'm like, I want them to live in the mountains until they're 20. Don't meet any guys. Don't go anywhere. Don't talk to anyone. Don't have phones. But like, I think my mom and dad was always like kind of cooler, you know, and they're always like open to, you know, other countries for me, and they wanted better life for me because they also understood that in Belarus at, you know, at that time it was still like the Soviet fell, and you know, it was better, it was getting better, but like look at the shit now, like what's happening in Russia and Ukraine and Belarus. We used to be brothers and sisters. We used to be one country.
yeah, and I think that really came as a
your
shock to
country,
everyone.
right? And your country, we used to be one country. Now they're fighting each other. It just doesn't make sense. You know,
Yeah.
whatever reason says, you know, we're not getting in politics here, but that was the right choice in the end. And they wanted better life. And I think after I moved to New York and I really became really successful, and I helped my family a lot as well. You know, even though they did well, it's not like it was really like great there. So
Yeah.
I helped in a lot. My brother moved in with me when I was 22-year-old, which I kind of had a child since I was 22 because he was 13 and he played hockey and he lived with me. So I had to like kind of adopt him to be his legal guardian
Yeah.
because he couldn't just be like,
I did actually similar with my brother.
Right. Like,
So funny.
you understand that.
Yeah.
So he went to school in Chinatown and we lived downtown. It was pretty cool.
Where's he now?
He still lives in New York. He has a jewelry brand. He's killing it, like he says, you know.
That's great.
Yeah, he's killing it. So I feel like I gave life not only to myself, but also to my family. And
It's so beautiful, especially, you know, hearing like, you got to be so strong. And I think probably that's what your mom and dad saw in you
Right.
for them to trust, to let you in the world at that age, you know?
right, they like maybe didn't know like the whole, you know, dramatic stories I had in Japan, that I was like a little too much into like party life. But I feel like I always was like stronger. Like I feel like my dad always said, "Oh, you're so much stronger than your brother," you know. Like he would kind of say that sometimes, which like now I don't know if I see that, but I was always like a strong like girl, you know, a strong woman. So I think they just saw that and they trusted in me, and I'm really happy they did, because I don't want to be back there right now, you know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be there. I really love US.
So when you moved from Japan to
Yeah.
US, that's another culture shock, coming from Minsk, Belarus to Japan
Yeah.
and then to US. That's like completely different worlds.
But I like the hassle of New York, and I love that it was kind of like Japan in a way. Like it was like hustle,
why.
and the people were cooler, and you know it was very professional like Japan. Because Europe, I never clicked with Europe. Till this day, I never really lived in Europe for you know longer periods of time. I always wanted to be, you know, in New York or Los Angeles or Miami or Hawaii, like I don't know.
And especially when you just start, I feel
Yeah.
like Japan and US was easier places to survive money wise. When you don't have
Right.
money, when you live from pocket money that agency gives you, right? In like somehow it's easier, and New York is walkable. You can walk everywhere. I
Yeah,
remember
you
just
walk
walking to my job.
right.
So you save money on metro.
Right, you walk everywhere. You're
Yeah.
like, okay, what is it, 20 blocks? 20 minutes? Great.
Easy.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I never worked out when I lived in New York.
No, you don't have to, because you always walk.
Right.
So
I did all my Victoria's Secret shows. I never worked out. I think I started to work out 2013. That's like 7 years after I moved to US. So it's like I feel like New York is moving, and I love that energy. It's a little different now, but yeah, it clicked with me. I clicked with Japan, and I clicked with New York, and I think that yeah, I'm just happy I did that. You know, I'm
For
happy I
sure.
tried New York, and it worked out.
And how many years you lived in New York?
2006 through I got pregnant with Anna Sophia in 2019. So I think that's when I moved to Los Angeles.
Yeah, so that's like 13 years. Amazing. Well, on that note, that's a great story, Maryna. Very
you.
impressive. I know you pretty well, but it's actually very interesting for me to hear all the story in details, and like how you grew up in community house, and it's you know, it's very beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and we're gonna see you all next time.